We're getting ready to go live here. For those of you that just joined in with us, we're glad you're here. We'd love to have you throw in a comment and just let us know that you've arrived, and maybe just give us an emotion, give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up. Anything that you can do to let us know that you're here, that would just jazz us up, because obviously we're here to make a difference in the lives of other people, and we want to see other people be impacted by what we're doing. So if you just joined in, we're going to be connecting with a couple of nurses that are going to be sharing a little bit more about their declaration for independence and how they're gaining more freedom to live the life that they want to live and be able to share encouragement and inspiration and health and well-being with other individuals, and to really live out their dreams and goals. So thanks so much for joining us today. This is going to be a action-packed little 30-minute live video that we're doing to really celebrate this glorious holiday that we're going into, Independence Day. And Donnie's going to tell us a little bit more about the background of Independence Day and talk a little bit more about the freedom model and the freedom approach. Donnie?
Thanks, David. Well, you know, one of the things that I know about the 4th of July is that we celebrate independence. We celebrate, you know, the freedom to do things our way, the way we wanted to do. But what I didn't realize was that only a third of the colonists actually wanted to break away from Britain. You know, I thought it was the majority, but it wasn't even the majority. It was just a third. However, they believed in it so much and they fought for it and they got it. And, you know, it's been said that freedom is not given, freedom is taken. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Miriam Khan, because that is exactly what she did. You know, a lot of times when I hear about people that start businesses, they'll sometimes have a partner or a spouse or somebody that's kind of backing them up while they're learning the ropes and while they're figuring things out. Miriam did this on her own. Okay, Miriam is a single mom, and she has a special needs child. And so she had some challenges. She had some unique challenges that she totally could have said, you know what, I don't want to do this. And yet she didn't. She saw the potential, she saw the freedom, and she said, I'm going to do this. And she did. And I am so proud to call her a friend. She's such an inspiration to me, and I'm so excited to introduce you. So welcome, Miriam.
Hi, Donnie and David. Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to share with you.
So Miriam, I'm so excited to share your story because, as I mentioned, it's so inspiring to me, right? And you, I shared a little bit of your background, but can you give us what a day looked like? What was a day in the life of Miriam, maybe, 7 years ago, 6 years ago?
6 years ago. It was 6 years ago. So it was, you said something that I, chose to start my own business. But initially when I started, it was survival. I was working more hours than any human being should, let alone somebody with a busy household. And 6 and 7 years ago, I was working more hours than my son was out of the house. And that was just going to get worse because he was aging out of the school system. And my daughters, 2 college-age girls, were growing. One was engaged. I was getting ready for her wedding, which is how I stumbled upon this. And they were my right arms in terms of helping me with his schedule. So this really started out as survival. It started out, I did not have, and we talk about flexible spending. I didn't have spending. So it was, and I was just telling somebody, I used to take a Xanax to pay my bills. A Xanax and a box of tissues, because it took so much out of me. And at the time, this just started, I took control of my own health. Didn't realize what I was doing. I'm sometimes embarrassed to say, I know we're talking to a room full of nurses, but I'm a little embarrassed to say that I was a nurse manager in a nursing home. 90% of the residents in that home were really struggling and ending their life with lifestyle-related illness. I myself was taking 4 medications at the time related to my lifestyle. I myself calculated BMIs all day in the nursing home because we got paid more if we had a certain percentage of obese residents. And I never once put my own numbers into that calculator. How crazy is that? So as I got healthier, it was almost like as the pounds came down and the medications dropped, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I was able to see things a little clearer. And that was when I was able to embrace the changes and what could potentially be another source of income. I'm sorry, a source of additional income, which then turned into, look what was happening in spare time. Because I don't even want to say part-time. And I think both of you know that I didn't have any time. There was no spare time. It was pockets of time that I created because I loved how I felt and I started to share it. That's it.
So what I hear you saying, Miriam, is that you didn't start out trying to start a business. You actually just started out trying to take care of yourself. Yeah.
I didn't even know it was possible. I didn't know somebody could take care of themselves. Again, embarrassed to say that as a healthcare professional, but I didn't know that half of what I was feeling, experiencing, and living with was in my control.
Awesome. So you lost some weight yourself?
I did. I lost 40 pounds. I've gone on to lose another 5. So I'm 45 down. I'm 5 feet tall. So if you do the math, if you're 40 pounds overweight and you're 5 feet tall, you are obese. I can barely say it because how did I get there? I've been through some challenges and traumas, as you both know. I was sick. I did have cancer. I did go through a very nasty divorce and didn't even notice that I was buying new clothes in insane sizes for somebody who's really very petite. So
let's start there. You shed these 40 pounds, and what did that give you the freedom to do? What did you declare independence from as you lost 45 pounds?
So I love that. So first of all, one of the things that I said back then, before I even realized how this was going to dramatically change my life, I talked about freedom from food and hunger, because I felt like, and it wasn't like I loved food so much. It wasn't about that. It was every day was about when can I eat? How can I eat? Because I had no time to breathe. And what's the healthiest thing that I can put in on the run is basically how I try to plan every healthy day, which never turned into healthy because the Hershey bars were much easier to get to than the tuna salad and grilled chicken. So it was just every day I would start out. And one of the things that happened as my mind got healthy, as my body got healthier, and then as my mind started getting healthier, was when I realized that to not be controlled or ruled by physical hunger, and that was powerful for me. And it was once I realized that there are certain tools that I can use to control hunger and feel good about not just how I feel good physically, but feel good about the choices that I make. Because a lot of you know that every time we plan to do something healthy for us and we don't, or we don't follow through with that plan, it chips away at our self-esteem little by little, so that by the end of the day, it becomes, why bother? So for me, it started with just like a baby thing of not being ruled by food. I learned how to eat often. I learned how to drink water. I was the coffee queen, and I'll announce it right here. I'm 6.5 weeks caffeine and coffee free. I'm sorry, 4 weeks caffeine free, 6.5 weeks coffee free. I was just at a big event this weekend. Everybody drank coffee all weekend. I had my water. And when I felt like I wanted to participate, I had a cup of hot water with, forgive me for those of you that might be grossed out by this, but a splash of milk. And it was really just about, David, it is fine. Now when I think that how much of that black sludge, and I believe me, it's a struggle. I love everything about coffee. But when I think about how much of it I drank and how bad it was for me, it affected my sleep. It affected my mood. It affected my water intake, obviously. But once I took control of those little, these are like baby steps to health. Eat often, drink water. It was, wow, I'm not ruled by when is dinner and how am I going to get it on the table? Because it was just became a part of my life. So you talk about, that was like the basic independence that I felt right away.
And I love how you talk about baby steps, right? So it sounded like the baby step was taking care of me. And this is a huge, huge thing for moms in general, right?
Let alone healthcare professionals, Donni, because
add healthcare professional on top of that, and then forget it. You're not even on the list. It's not even the last one. You're not on the list. And so the fact that and then you also have a special needs child, which I suspect makes you further down on the list as well. Yeah.
And that's a big, I work with a lot of special needs moms, as you would imagine. And that is, I have really, I'm like, every time they used to say, oh yeah, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Well, heck, you never had a kid with asthma hospitalized like 25 times. So I don't think so, but now I get it. And I didn't get it until I started taking care of myself.
Yeah. So I love how you started there. You started with the baby step of taking care of me and believing that I can do it, because now I have the tools, now I have the support, now I have the resources, right? And then where did that go?
So that was, again, everything was baby steps. And, we talk about what were you thinking at the time when you realized you were going to, I didn't realize that I was going to drop 40 pounds and literally, let alone change my wardrobe, but change how I felt getting up in the morning, change how I felt to not, now back then, I didn't have the $80 in copays that I was spending on 4 medications. And so when all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I dropped 40 pounds, I feel better, and I'm saving $80 a month. And so that was like, and I'll tell you something else. For me, another thing was, I am a single mom of a special needs son. You drop 40 pounds and suddenly the price tag on health insurance goes down a little bit. And I couldn't afford it before then. But once I was at a healthy BMI and I was reevaluated, I took out, that was one of the first things when you talk about healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances, which we talk about all the time. That was my baby step to healthy finances, was holy cow. I took care of myself, and now I have a life insurance policy that doesn't even hurt me when I pay the premiums on it.
So you shared a little bit about what life was like before, where you didn't have spare time, you didn't have time, it was like go, 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 go. Fast forward, 3-4 years. And so what is life like now for you since you've decided to declare independence?
Thank you. That's really, I have the chills. Just as you said it, all the hairs on my arm stood up, because life doesn't even resemble what it did before. I mean, not even at all. So as I said, my daughters were getting older. College, and I thought college was going to be my biggest challenge, but in the end it was 2 weddings. That were 2 weddings and 2 very, very helpful, amazing big sisters moving out, one at a time, thankfully. So I adjusted, but one moved out and moved overseas. And second one moved out 2 years later overseas. So here's what happens. I wake up in the morning. I'm in workout clothes every morning, because even though David, we got to talk, I still struggle with, I exercise, but I'm on the minimum effective dose plan. Because it's not my thing, but I love that I could say that I exercise, and I know I need to for my health. So every morning I get my son ready. I'm in workout clothes instead of a lab coat, basically, or whatever's going to go under my lab coat. I take him out, his car comes, and I take him out. And before I gave up the coffee, I used to sit down and literally just feel blessed while I drank mug of coffee number 2. Now I drink big cup of ice water number 2 by then, and really just reflect on the fact that I could take him out and not be rushing and getting into my car. And how could the driver be late? The nerve, I have to get to work. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is I get to help people from my home all day. Although I am heading out tonight, I am speaking about health at a charity event tonight, a women's event. So, and I'm just excited about that. And it's not about me at that point. It's about, there's so much of our health is in our control. And when you take control of it, so much breaks free. So for me, a lot of my day is spent helping people. But in addition to that, I also have the freedom and flexibility that I never had before. The first year that I was a full-time health coach, within 6 months after I actually resigned from the nursing home, one of my best friends was dying of cancer. And I was with her. I was with her up until the morning that she passed. And for me, I was with her family. That was, I mean, I haven't thought about it in a while, but that was like the first time that I felt what freedom could feel like. Now, I get to do I get to plan. I don't get to do whatever I want because we just don't live that life, but I get to plan what I do. I have a trip coming up. So for those of you that are brand new and don't know me, I now have 2 daughters married. I did make a wedding this past November in Jerusalem, Israel. I have 2 delicious grandbabies there, a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, and I'm going to see them for 2 weeks in August. Here's the thing. I never would have been able to do that had I still been part of the nursing home staff, because all of my vacation days were taken up by either Jewish holidays or having to be home because my son didn't have a program that day on secular holidays, which very often I did work. And I never had an extra day for myself. So now this is my second trip this year. Usually it's 3, but the wedding kind of cut into the timing of my trips. And yeah, I was there for 2 weeks with my son, getting ready for the wedding and after the wedding. So that's what I get to do.
That's such an awesome story. And for those of you that are just joining in with us, where you're talking to Miriam Konda about her Declaration of Independence, her freedom story, where she went from really barely surviving. You could almost say that to a certain sense, she was dying on the inside, and she had lost some of the dreams, she had lost some of the hope, and was just simply trying to get through her days. And you could say it would be survival, but that would maybe be an overstatement, because her life was not her own, and she was having to answer to so many different people and so many different demands. And then it started with a wedding. It started with her personal interest in looking her best for a wedding, and she decided that she was going to try to start a health coaching program, a program that Donni and I and Miriam all have done. And she worked with a health coach and started that journey on a personal level and broke through some of the chains that had basically imprisoned her to become the person she was at that point. But as she was gaining support, she was gaining structure, she was given a very simple system to follow, she started to find that strength to start breaking those chains of bad habits. And she started to build on those with new habits. And following this health coaching program, she was able to declare freedom from 45 pounds of excess weight, which, the average person on our program will lose 20 pounds with support. And the average person is on the program for 12 weeks. But she was able to lose 45 pounds on a 5-foot frame. And she is a vibrant grandmother who is now beginning to, really start to thrive in her life in a journey over these last 6 years. She's simply built in habits physically, built in habits mentally. And now you can even hear her talking about how she's optimizing her health and her well-being by creating new goals. One of them being that she wants to give up coffee. And if you're at a point right now where you're ready to turn this thing off because you don't want to give up coffee or you don't want to give up diet soda, hey, it's okay. Because Miriam probably wouldn't have given up coffee if we asked her to 6 years ago, but she has begun to, create new goals for herself to make it to be something where she's optimizing her health. And because she decided to pay it forward, she was able to buy back her freedom from her job, which she considered to be, volunteer incarceration. She had to go into this prison nearly every day, which was called a care facility, and do things that she didn't necessarily want to do. Although she cared for those residents, it wasn't the life that she dreamed about. And because she was willing to pay it forward and to think outside the box and to do things in a way that would be considered to be lifestyle entrepreneur skills, she learned to acquire clients. She learned how to support clients on our health coaching program over time, starting off with her spare time, then to a part-time, and now to the point where she's thriving in full-time. So, Donni, let's continue on with.
So Miriam, why did you decide to start coaching? You didn't have time. Why did you decide to do that?
So first, it was just really, I feel great. You're going to feel great. And so that was, I wanted to share it with everybody, but I wasn't even there yet. It was really my friends, my coworkers, and my family initially were noticing the change. And it wasn't just the fact that my clothes were big and I was looking different. Because in fact, I have to be honest, I didn't even notice that I was looking different. When people would go to me, "Oh my God, you lost so much weight," I would go, "You could tell," because I didn't really even know what weight I started at specifically, because didn't have time to get on the scale in the morning, and I wouldn't weigh myself, God forbid, any other time of day. But so first it started out with just people around me wanted to do what I did. And then as they started to do, I started coaching them. Just the people that I was speaking to anyway was how it started. And then from there, it evolved into their friends and family. And it was then that I realized two things. I could help a lot more people if I actually focus. And number two, it was if I could help people feel as great as I did and really just break free from some of those barriers that we don't even realize what they are, just barriers to our health, things we do every day that I don't want to say destroy it, even though that's what I mean, but really affect our health and, more importantly, our well-being. You know, I was drinking 8 to 12 cups of coffee way back in the nursing home. I didn't even know it because I would just keep refilling my mug. We had 2 spots there where it was just flowing freely all day long. I never paid attention until I started paying attention.
And so what I hear you saying is you just started paying it forward. And then all of a sudden, you know, and this is the part of the story that I always say, don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah.
Miriam Khan decides that she's going to quit her job.
It wasn't such a simple decision. It was, and here's the piece. I really believe, you know, divine intervention at its finest. So here's what happened, and I just want to share. Nursing homes had some of healthcare changes happening before it hit the rest of the population. So here the timing on these coincidences. October was when I had reached my 40 pounds of weight loss, feeling completely like a different person. That same October was when the first change came down into my department, and our paperwork increased. I was one of the paperwork people in the facility. Second change was happening in April, and that we were getting ready for. And we knew it was coming, and it was just more paperwork, basically adding to what was already pretty much not doable. So October was the month that I became a health coach, and the same month that our changes were starting. By April, I had what I didn't even realize, because I never even had time to understand our compensation plan, had a thriving business, and I was invited to a conference at the same time that I started to realize how much money was being deposited into my direct deposit. And I went, which me going to Arizona at that time was like either of you or anybody listening saying, I'll take the next spaceship to the moon, because I didn't have time off from work. I had to make special arrangements for my son because it was a last minute decision. I didn't know anybody. I had no roommates. I had no hotel room. I mean, the barriers were just, but yet I felt like I need to check this out. And then when I checked it out, and again, this is the do not try this at home, I came home feeling like I could do this and I could really make a life doing this and love it. Not that I didn't love nursing for a lot of years, but it became like a ball and chain. And then I came home on Sunday, was back at work Monday morning, and with really like head spinning. I had an insanely stressful meeting at work where I looked at them and said, if this job can be done, I'm your girl. And I look at the director of nursing and the administrator, and I'm like, I don't think it can be done. And then I heard myself say, I think I need to resign. And one of my friends told me, just go back tomorrow and pretend you didn't say it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't think I can go back. And I gave 4 weeks notice that very next day. I was up all night. And again, single mom, you know, just starting to realize that there was a possibility. And what if this really took off and I can make money helping people just do what I did?
And did you?
I did.
So you've been doing this for how long now?
I've been doing this. Last month was my 5-year anniversary full time.
Wow.
June 1st was my last day in the nursing home.
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick because there's some people that are watching this video as a recording or the live video, and they're saying, well, it makes sense. She's a nurse. Why wouldn't she, thrive as a health coach? She has the education, she has the skill sets, she's, got the peers, she's got the support to make that shift. But there's been many other people that are not health professionals that have joined into this rank of health and lifestyle coaching, not because they had an expertise in a particular topic like nutrition or exercise or sleep, but because they had a desire. They had a desire and a passion to become more free. They had a desire and a passion to help people. They had a desire to have more security. We really talk a lot about this idea of lifestyle entrepreneurship and the idea of becoming a 10% entrepreneur. Take 10% of your time and devote it to the idea of helping other people to do something that brings value to their life, whether it's health coaching or something totally different. You can start to build more freedom. You can start to build more purpose into your life and your career. Maybe you've got a sweet job and an excellent boss and everything's going just perfect for you right now. Times change, right? I mean, the paperwork changes. That's what Miriam just said. The duties, the responsibilities increase, the debt load increases, kids move away, you need more support. So why not do something that not only helps you to regain more health and well-being in your life, but to also create more security, to create more freedom from the worries or the stresses of life that maybe are kind of plaguing you in some capacity, that you just need a little bit more income, or you need a little bit more opportunity. You need to not be limited. If you come in and you do an excellent job and you're really getting after it and you're bringing a lot of value to the marketplace and you're waiting for a raise or you're waiting for a promotion, you don't have to do that in this kind of a business model that we're in, which is called health and lifestyle coaching, because the more people that you help, the more income you earn and the more influence and significance that you have. Donni, talk a little bit more about some of the training that comes with health coaching and what Miriam's experience was with that.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, that's one of the questions that's coming through on our webinar here, Miriam, is did you have to have any kind of special certificate or training or any kind of prerequisites to become a coach?
Absolutely none, because there were no prereqs for that. The prereq, I guess, is a desire for health and to help others be healthy. But here's an interesting thing. Initially, I started really just sharing just the program and just what I did. So I was an expert at that. One week in, I was an expert in that piece of it. Later on, I worked with my health coach, who then became my business coach and my mentor, who helped me really take it to the next level. Most of what we do is what we call on-the-job mentoring, training, apprentice-type learning, and that was it. Nothing really else. Of course, I became certified because I'm just, you guys may not know this, I became certified before I actually started coaching, because that's just like
the nurse's mind.
That's the nurse's mind. Yeah, that and the note-taking. I have not been able to let go. I still take notes on every conversation I have with clients as though Jaco was coming in to read my charts. So,
but so you did it, but you have helped other people become coaches, correct?
Oh yeah, thank God.
And and you're helping them develop their freedom, declare their freedom, right? And so are all of them health professionals? Are all of them nurses?
Just a handful, really just a handful, because, and most of, yeah, I do have a lot of social workers for some reason. I think that's a natural, but I have absolutely everything. I have business owners, entrepreneurs. I have one woman who was having her third baby and decided to close her business and do this full time because third baby will make you rethink some of your choices. Yeah, I have absolutely everything. I have stay-at-home moms, in addition to a handful of healthcare professionals.
Well, I know that for myself, I knew nothing about business, but I did have a passion for people. I did have a passion for helping others, and I wanted to share my story just like you did. And what I found was that within this structure, having the structure is what kind of just pushes it forward. It's kind of like, okay, this is where I want to go. I'm going to get into this car because it's going to take me there. And this car is taking me exactly where I want to go. And I'm so excited that for you, because you got into the car when you said, this is it, I'm doing it. I love how you heard yourself say, I think I need to resign. What would you say to the busy professional? Maybe it's a mom, maybe it's not a mom, right? Maybe it's a dad, maybe it's someone that doesn't even have kids, but they're busy. What would you say to the busy professional that's saying, yeah, but you don't understand, I need benefits, or you don't understand, I'm the sole provider for my family? What would you say to them?
So I needed the benefits, and I was the sole provider of my family, which is why when I heard myself resign, I was really like, because my middle name is really security. But I didn't really have security there either. I mean, anything could have happened at any time. And I'll be honest, ideally, what I really wanted to do was do this full time and do that part time. But you know what they say. If I would have stayed part time, I would have had the same workload, which was what was unacceptable in full time. But did you ever hear the expression, when you want something done, you give it to a busy person to get done? So it was really a matter of it fueled me, and pockets of time was all it took in the beginning for me to even see the changes. Taking care of myself, remember, taking care of myself was the first change. So as soon as I realized that sleep affected my health and my weight and my appetite, et cetera, I started to sleep a little bit better, which meant that during my day hours, my thriving hours, I had more energy. So it was really a matter of just squeezing things in. And then when it became bigger than I could do, that's why we work with a team of health coaches. So it turned into a lot of, I work on a great team, and we all work together to help the people that wanted to be helped.
Well, I so appreciate you sharing your story today, Miriam, because, tomorrow's 4th of July, it's Independence Day, and we want to really inspire people of what is possible. Not only was it possible for you to take care of yourself, which you mentioned you didn't think was possible. Not only was it possible for you to lose 45 pounds, but it was possible for you to generate the kind of income that can free up your time, that you could be the one that could decide what you do with your time. And it's possible for anybody. You don't have to be a nurse. You don't have to be a mom. You don't have to be, you just have to have that passion to help people. And, we're actually going to be having our wellness retreat coming up in July. Right. And you talked about how you going to this event was like going to the moon. Right. What would you say to somebody that's trying to kick the tires and wondering what's possible for them in their life in terms of joining us in July?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I do have a handful of clients who are coming just to step up their own health, because, forgive me for this if you're a scrapbooker, but it's just an example. But do you know that people go on scrapbooking cruises? And things like, oh!
Yeah, I was just going to say, have you been reading Donnie's mail?
Donnie, don't kill me. Oh my God, when I see you July 20th, big hug. And I'm thinking, that's all amazing. You're preserving memories, and that's great. And you spend money on a cruise for that. Imagine the power of spending money on your own health so that you can be with like-minded people and learn techniques to either step up your own health. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of sorry that I can't go on the client track for that. Step up your own health. And then for those of us that are helping others, to be able to help them better. And that was initially my first motivation to go to my first Arizona conference was, can I learn to help people better than I already am and help them have even more success? So go ahead.
There was the question, what kind of training is required to become a coach? Well, you don't have a prereq, but once you are a coach, you get the training you need, you get the structure you need, you get the tools you need. And part of it is attending this conference for those that want to do this, for those that are interested in maybe doing a business, whether it be part-time or full-time. And what's pretty unique about our business model is that a lot of times we can generate a full-time income on less hours, right? But
happened to me, and while I was still in the nursing home, I did generate a full-time income within 9 months. So
yeah. So, for those that are looking to generate extra income, would love to have you guys join us. For those that are just looking to declare your independence from the physical ailments, from the weight or from the blood pressure or from, just helping you just relieve stress, learning to take care of yourself. For those that are looking for just that, we would absolutely love to have you join us in Dallas, Texas. We're going to be out there July 20th through the 24th, and you'll get to meet people like Miriam. and get inspired by stories just like hers, and so that you can create your own story. Right, David?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say in people like David too, but I guess it's just all about Miriam today. Doggone it. Well, I tell you what, this has just been so inspiring, and is just a recap on what Donni said. Whether it's the physical side of health, the mental side. I just talked to so many people that don't really have a large sphere of really healthy friends, or just really encouraging friends that want to gain freedom. They have a bunch of friends that tell them that they're just gonna wait until Friday, and then they are gonna cry on Sunday night to go back to work. And this event that we're doing is going to be a great gathering of people that are going to be from all different types of walks of life. Some people are going to be doing health coaching full time. Some of them are going to be doing it part time. Some people are going to be doing it in their spare time. And it's all about the idea of finding out what's right for you. And if Donni, like Donni said, if what's right for you is just to start the process of getting healthier, starting to get your smile back, like Miriam did, and Donni did, and I did, and many others have done, maybe that's the only reason why you start this process. So reach out to the person that shared this video with you, and ask them for more information about this healthy lifestyle program, the health coach opportunity, as well as the upcoming wellness retreat in Dallas, Texas. So for Miriam Khan, for Donni Alvarenga, I'm Dave Bush. Thanks for joining us today. We wish you all the very best of the 4th of July weekend, and happy Independence Day.